Hello everyone and welcome back to Network 27. I'm Alderman Walter Burnett, Alderman of the 27th Ward. I'd like to thank everyone who helped me to put this show together. Thank all of you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's been some exciting things happening in the West Loop area in the city of Chicago. A lot of great things has been happening. One of the most pivotal things that has happened in the West Loop area is that Google has moved to our community. And from that, before Google even moved here, everyone else wanted to move to the community just to be around Google. They wanted to redevelop residential buildings just to get Google's employees to move in them. A lot of restaurants have opened up. A lot of exciting things have opened up because of Google. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a show on Google. Let you know about the Google in the West Loop in our ward, in the 27th Ward. And so, ladies and gentlemen, today I have with me the vice president, one of the vice presidents of Google, Mr. Jim Lizinski.
Yep.
Lizinski. And Jim, thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure, Alderman. Thanks for inviting us, and we're so happy to be part of your neighborhood and part of your ward.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and tell us about Google?
Yeah. Well, I'm a lifelong Chicagoan. I grew up on the northwest side. My parents grew up right here on Carpenter Street, so in a sense it's a homecoming. I can be happy to tell you a little more about being back in the neighborhood here for our family. But for Google, we're so excited to be here. I look after our customer solutions, so I work with the advertisers who use Google to help reach customers, and that gets more information to the folks in your ward so that they can find the business solutions that help them out in their day-to-day lives.
Fantastic. So tell us about Google.
Yeah, so we're about a 16-year-old company. We were chatting a little bit earlier, kind of hard to believe that Google's
16 years old. Man, I thought you all been around for 100 years.
Yeah, it seems like it because, you know, we've been so pleased that we've been received by consumers and by people in the neighborhoods, not only here, but all around the U.S. and all around the world, who have been gracious enough to make our products a part of their daily lives, whether it's YouTube or Google Search or Android mobile phones that come from us, or the Chrome browser, or even one of my favorite products that we have is Waze, our little navigation tool that saves me a little bit of time in traffic every day.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Jim, so how many people, so you all moved here from somewhere else?
Yep. So we had a presence in Chicago for about 15 years.
You started 16 years ago, you came to Chicago on
1 year later.
1 year later, fantastic.
Yeah, because you know, we can talk more about this, but Chicago is super important for Google, for us as a company, to be here. But our location for the last 10 years was in River North. We were across the street from Harry Carey's on Kinsey. We loved it. We had a great time and a great experience there. But because Chicago has been so welcoming to us, we grew and grew, and we just outgrew our space. So when it came time to look around, we definitely wanted to stay in Chicago. We never even entertained going out in the suburbs or any of that kind of thing. We're committed to the city of Chicago itself. And so as we started to look around, we were looking for some areas and some neighborhoods where we could become a contributing member and a contributing neighbor, part of the community. And of course, that brought us right to your neighborhood here.
Fantastic. So when you moved here, how many people did you move here with you?
We brought about 650 full-time Googlers, and then of course we've got some temporary or seasonal folks that come in and out.
That's funny, you call them Googlers. Huh?
Googlers, yeah, right.
Okay, that's great. So out of the 650 folks that you brought over here, then you also hire new people while you're here.
Yeah, we've you know, are enjoying a little bit of growth at the moment, so we have some jobs posted, and we're looking to fill those open roles. And fingers crossed, based on business and market conditions, we're optimistic that we can continue to grow and expand in our new home here in the West Loop.
So why did you choose the West Loop?
Well, so we're a growth company, and we're a company that believes in investing in the future, whether that's some of the things that we've done to bring technology to less developed nations or other countries around the world. We want to empower people to grow and learn and contribute more in the future based on some of the technologies that we and other things around the internet and digital are doing. So, we really saw tremendous potential, a lot of great folks, a lot of great energy happening here in the West Loop. And of course, this fabulous space that we're in gave us the opportunity to make this our new home.
Fantastic. So tell me, what's your average age here at Google? Because, I think you and I may be you know, a little.
Yeah, I go to the barber and ask him to cut the gray ones out.
Little mature for Google.
Yeah, well,
as far as the younger employees.
Yeah, we certainly have a range of employees that work here, from some of those just out of college to people who, you know, have enjoyed many years of a professional career. You are right that I guess I'm now on the latter end of that, but I would say, you know, early 30s is probably the center part or the sweet spot for where most of our folks are.
So it seemed like so I've been on a tour here, and it seemed like you guys have a lot of neat things. I mean, you have you serve food, people eat for free, right? So hopefully my staff folks don't start thinking I should do all the things that Google do, because I can't afford it. But you feed all your people. You have like bean bags, and people can take naps, and you know, all of those things. Tell us about this culture that you all have here at Google. Well,
we call Googlers, people who work here, Googlers, and we call the culture Googliness.
Googliness.
Googliness. So when we talk about what is Googliness, one of the things that we're very conscious of is, you know, how we can foster a productive, happy, and healthy work environment. So what we're trying to do is put a physical space, surroundings together for the Googlers to help them do their jobs better. So one of the things that you know, when we walked around here, you know, we looked at with you was this notion of bringing people together in a way that might spur ideas or creativity. You know, if you just sit at your desk all day and I sit at my desk all day and we don't bump into each other, you might be working with the same challenge or wrestling with the same problem that I have. And you'd never know it and I'd never know it. But this way we can get people in common spaces, you know, like to go have lunch together or bump into each other up and down the stairs, you know, or if we go sit in a beanbag for a couple hours, I can say, hey, Alderman, what are you working on? I said, that's funny, I'm working on that same thing too. How are you addressing it? So that makes your job better, that makes my job better. It's more fun and enjoyable because we can connect, and it's also better for business, right? Because it helps productivity.
So I saw one thing you all had was a thing where they could like cover their head and like take a nap. People take naps on the job.
Well, you know, part of that is people are productive and people like to work in different ways. Some folks are very social, gregarious. They get their energy from being in the buzz with a lot of people. But other folks are a little more introverted and they like to have some private time to sit and think. So we want to offer an environment that works for either one of those. But in either case, promotes healthiness. You know, there's a lot of research now that says sitting all day is maybe not the best thing for your circulation, for your health. And so we want to promote people to have a chance to get up, take their laptop, and go work someplace else, walk around and stretch a little bit.
Fantastic. So what is the emerging things that's happening in places like Google? What type of things do you expect new folks that's looking to get in this field to work on?
Yeah.
You know, what do the young folks who want to work at a place like Google, what should they be learning?
Yeah. Well, I think this is what's now commonly called STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those sort of four disciplines together called STEM is you know, really what's the basis of a lot of folks' knowledge base here at Google, but just sort of in the digital industry, you know, in new technologies overall. And so, you know, we really encourage our folks to continue to learn more math, more science, more computer engineering. And, you know, we can talk a little bit more about this, but that's what would be my advice to anyone who's interested in this kind of a field or this kind of a career. You know, got to be good at science and math.
So are you working with the city on any of those things?
Yeah, so we definitely are working both within your ward and with the mayor and with the city overall to try and encourage STEM education. So some of that starts with some of just even the most basic things, like it's hard to be good and learn science and technology if you don't have access to that. So, for example, you know, one of the things over the west here in Garfield Park, also at the South Shore Cultural Center, Google sponsors and offers free Wi-Fi, right? Because not everybody has Wi-Fi access at home. But if you want to learn these kinds of things, you need to be online. So, you know, places like that, if you go over to the Harold Washington Library, you have the ability to check out a Wi-Fi hotspot so that you can then take that Wi-Fi technology with you wherever you want, at home, at work, at school. You know, we were pleased and proud to partner with the city to sponsor that. So it all starts with access, and, you know, we've been pleased and proud to be a good partner with the city on that. And then from there, you build up the skills.
Fantastic. So everyone thinks that you work at a place like Google, you already, as soon as you get a job, you become a millionaire.
Certainly not the case. Certainly not the case.
I mean, that's the myth out there, you know,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I suppose the same thing, right? Like if you get drafted to play ball, you instantly become a
That's
millionaire.
right.
But you know, in all these cases, it takes hard work. And I tell my own kids, you get in life what you earn, right? You got to put in the hard work. You know, you got to take nothing for granted. Just because you get a foot in the door in any career here or anywhere else, you got to continually stay on top of your field, put the effort in, and you'll get back out what you put in.
Fantastic, fantastic. But it is a decent salary starting here.
Yeah, we're pleased to be able to do that. But, you know, again, it's hard work.
Fantastic.
But we love it.
Fantastic. Well, Jim, I want to thank you very much. I think we're going to sign off and get ready to meet with some of your other team here.
Great.
To talk about some of the other things that you do. And also, we're going to look at some of the other spaces around here.
Yeah.
You guys have some real neat things that has given me some ideas at my office.
Good.
So I'm going to try to emulate Google.
Good.
One of the greatest things that I like is, you know, I had to dress down today to come here.
I had to dress up.
So I had to dress down today because everyone wears like T-shirts and blue jeans and gym shoes, and so I was like, okay, I'll try to mix it up a little bit, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we have a phrase that says you can be serious without wearing a suit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all of the new people you brought to the community, how they're affecting all of the businesses in the neighborhood, folks shopping at the restaurants, shopping at the stores, you know, just really help to make this neighborhood explode, and it's encroaching more and more further west because a lot of your people are moving to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you're really helping to build up not only the city, but the west side of Chicago.
Well, it's our pleasure, and I want to thank you. You've been a tremendous partner. The mayor's been a tremendous partner. The city's been very welcoming, and so we're pleased to be here and look forward to a great partnership for many years to come.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. Visit bestfriends.org to learn more.
Oh, I stopped wearing clothes, I guess about 5 years ago. When you realize just how much you can save on ironing or using your washer dryer, let alone air conditioning, it makes perfect sense. I don't even think people notice.
Hey, Bob, what's up?
But they should. It's a real money saver.
Or you could save money with your smart meter. Go to smartpowerillinois.org to learn more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Still at Google. Some of you may or may not see that we have just gotten off of the treadmill desk, for which I got my steps in for the day. And I'm here with Fabian Elliott. Hey, how you doing, Fabian?
Doing great, Alderman.
And Fabian is a young Googler here at Google. Fabian, why don't you tell us about yourself? Tell us who you are. So, Fabian, how old are you, man?
Yeah, so the ripe age of 25.
25, man.
25, yeah.
So you're one of them old guys at Google, huh?
Yeah, I'm up there. One of the veterans. Yeah.
You're a veteran already.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell us about you, Fabian.
Yeah, so
You're a Googler.
I'm a Googler. My path to Google is actually through our internship program called BOLD, the BOLD program, which helps to get diverse leaders a pipeline into the company. So I interned when I was in school in the Atlanta office and accepted a full-time offer to come up to Chicago, where now I work as an advertising technology consultant.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Fabian, tell me, what is it like for Googlers here in Google?
Yeah, I'd say the experience is different for everyone. Everyone puts their spin on it. I'd say my personal experience has been fantastic. I think a lot of times it's easy to get caught up in the space and the treadmill desk and some of the different perks, but I think what I've enjoyed most are the people, and some of the most humblest, nicest, talented people all wrapped into one individual, where a lot of times that's pretty rare, where you get all three of those type of traits and qualities together. So that's what I've probably enjoyed.
So what's your favorite perk here?
Favorite perk? I'd have to say, and this is probably, I don't know what 25-year-old guy would disagree with this. I got to go with the food. So
I thought you was going to say the girls, but go ahead.
Hey, that would probably be number 2 for most of us. But no, I have to say it'll be 4 years for me at the company in June, and I say I've never woken up a day and not felt like going to work, and I'm not sure if I just love my job that much or it's the breakfast, but I think
so. You all
get
get breakfast here?
Yeah, breakfast and lunch.
So what are some of the other perks? You get breakfast and lunch at work?
Breakfast, lunch, and
they don't deduct it from your salary?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, might have to talk with Rob or Jim about that, but not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
yeah.
breakfast, lunch. What are the other perks?
Yeah, so if we're staying in the food space, then snacks. So we have micro kitchens to make sure that
snack all day.
Yeah, you can stay focused. When you're hungry or the stomach's growling, it can distract you from your work.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's great. So so tell us. So you are involved with dealing with diversity here at the center. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So one thing I'm really grateful for, and now that I think about it, this might actually trump the food, is that working at Google, not only for your day-to-day job that you do for the company, you also get the opportunity to pursue passion projects. And so diversity was something, and being able to help empower the community was something that I was really passionate about, and that I'm just have been so thankful for all the opportunities that Google's provided for that, where we have 20% projects. So outside of your core role, you're able to enroll in these programs where you can take 20% of your time and devote it towards a particular passion project or community initiative. So for me, I've spent my 20% heavily involved with our Black employee group here at the company, as far as being able to rally the Black Googlers to be able to give back even more to the community. And so that's something that I've enjoyed a whole lot. And outside of that, a lot of the different initiatives I've been able to support with our local public relations and community affairs, working with Blue 1647, as we've talked about, Chicago Urban League, and also with the organization I launched last year, the Black Tech Mecca.
So tell us about the Black Tech Mecca. What do they do? Yeah,
so what we are focused on is how can we make it easier for an individual in the Black community to navigate all of the Chicago tech ecosystem resources that are available. And so we're doing that through an online platform.
So you started the Black Tech Mecca. Why?
Yeah, so what I saw was that there were Chicago was just full of resources at the city level, the state level, for technology, and the mayor's behind it, the governor's behind it. You do a lot of initiatives right here. Companies are behind it. There's nonprofit groups that are all looking to serve. However, what was challenging was that most of the community members either weren't aware of all these different resources, or they weren't sure how to access it, or if they were aware and they were able to access it, they had no clue how to navigate because there were so many of them. And so that's the problem we saw, and that's what we came in to find a way to streamline and simplify it.
So how do you do that?
Our main approach is through our technology platform. So we're developing an online social network, almost like a Black Tech LinkedIn, so that we can centralize all the different resources, all the different offerings that are available, so that community members can just come to this platform, connect with each other, build community, and also find out about the different resources that can help them.
So a lot of these other companies that you're working with are organizations that try to bridge the digital divide
Exactly.
in the minority communities.
Exactly.
To try to get them more engaged and more involved and more aware of what's going on.
Exactly.
So you was telling me that you have meetings here at Google with all of them. And you just had a meeting, what was that called?
Yes, so back in January, Black Tech Mecca, sponsored by Google, we had our State of the Black Tech Ecosystem event on January 28th, where we brought together 12 different Black tech organizations that are doing great work around the city, and we showcased them to an audience of leaders across business, technology. About 300 people came out to find out what was happening in the Black community and how they could get involved. And so Kurt Summers, city treasurer, actually gave opening remarks, and we had different Black tech leaders speak about their vision for the year and how people could help and support them.
So you get them to network.
Exactly.
So I was just here not too long ago with Rob, and they had a lot of different young ladies here.
Okay, yep.
It was a young lady group, and some from Blue 1647 and different groups, and they were trying to encourage young women to be more aware about technology. Can you tell us about that? Are you aware of that one?
Yeah, so I can talk about it at a broader level, where a lot of times we look at the digital divide or some of the underrepresentation in the tech field, and it's easy to look at it maybe from racial lines. For example, with Black Tech Mecca, we're focused on the Black community. There's initiatives focused on the Hispanic community, but one of the also big underrepresentations is just gender-based. And so Google and other companies and industry-wide have been doing a lot of work to get women more involved in technology and let them know that it's not just a guys club or boys club.
So Google support all these organizations. You help all these organizations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell me this, what are some of the charitable involvements that Google have in Chicago?
Oh man, goodness, that list runs long. I can just speak to some of the actual initiatives I've been directly involved with that have been highly impactful. So one is working with the Chicago Urban League. We did Tech Around Town initiatives or events where we'd bring different Black tech leaders or have different panel presentations so the community could be able to come to these events and better understand what was happening and be able to have a better understanding of how they could navigate some of the opportunities in the city. So we did about 4 of them every quarter. And the last one we did, speaking of women, was actually last December. We recognized 5 of the shining stars in the Black tech women community. And they were honored. It was hosted here at Google. They got awards. It was an amazing ordeal, amazing event.
Fantastic. So tell me this, what can parents on the West Side do to get their children more involved and more engaged in technology?
Right. So, yeah, that's a challenging question that a lot of people are trying to solve, and we're trying to solve it with Black Tech Mecca with the online platform that we're developing. But I'd say on the short list, or things that can be done in the short term, would be exposure. So, taking a moment to be able to research on what are some of the different organizations that are offering training. Like Blue 1647 would be a great first start, because not only do they do different training programs across the board, but they also have programming directly focused on women with their 1919 initiative. So I'd say Blue 1647 would be a great resource to watch. Also, the WYCA has also launched a hub in the west side, where a technology innovation hub, where they're going to have resources, coding courses, the whole 9. So there are some interesting developments happening.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell me, is Google working with any other schools in Chicago?
Oh, very closely, and it's been streamlined even more so through our support of CPS and their Computer Science for All initiative that Brenda Wilkerson is leading. So they actually hosted their big announcement event, a couple weeks ago, about the big policy change that occurred, where now it's going to be a requirement for CPS students to graduate with some type of computer science credential. So we've been behind Brenda, we've been behind CPS on that computer science focus almost from day one.
So I know, and you may or may not know this, but I know the mayor is very aggressive in trying to get corporations to, be good corporate partners. What are some of the things he's pushing you all to do? I'm sure he pushed for the stuff with CPS. Is there anything else that he's pushing that you may know of?
Yeah, so from my lens, it's been a lot of mutual, collaboration. As far as we've really been able to find that sweet spot behind some of the different initiatives that we not only do in Chicago but do across the nation, and how those align with some of the city's priorities. So it's, from my perspective, there hasn't been much of a hard, push necessary. It's almost been a nice sweet spot fix based on priorities.
So tell me, so I know people are looking at you right now, and it's like, man, that's a nice young man. I wish I can get my son or grandson, to get involved like him. Or guys are probably saying, man, I wish your brother could show me how to get hooked up. How do I get hooked up? Right? So what's your advice to other young people out there of how to get involved in companies, to work for companies like Google, or how to get into those internship programs? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So my advice is always pretty simple and straightforward, as far as I think there's a danger these days of everyone sees the technology wave and they're just trying to dive head first in, or they're trying to just force it into their lives in a lot of ways. When my typical recommendation is, hey, what are you already passionate about? Are you passionate about sports? Are you passionate about art, marketing, business, whatever it might be? And how can you find some type of tie into technology from something you're already passionate about? So then it's not so much of you trying to make it fit somehow, or it doesn't quite match up with your interests, but how can you pair your interests and what you're passionate about and leverage technology and bring them together to launch initiatives, or do what you might be eager to do. So that's normally just my baseline knowledge, is how can you pair that passion with technology somehow. But what I would also say, though, is technology is so powerful because we are in the information age, and information is just at the touch of your fingertips. And any question you might have, don't think it's silly about technology. Just go and do some research, type it into Google, and see what pops up. If you're interested in gaming, a lot of people don't know that gaming is one of the hottest, fastest growing areas in technology. So do some exploration, go to events, plug into resources like Blue 1647. Same thing with Black Tech Mecca. We do a weekly newsletter with all the different events that are happening in the city.
So how can they find out about Black Tech Mecca?
Yeah, so our website is a great first stop where you can sign up for our newsletter. We're also very active.
What's your website?
Oh, blacktechmecca.org.
Okay.
So you can just Google Black Tech Mecca. blacktechmecca.org will pop up for you.
And then if someone wanted to try to get an internship with Google or other companies like that, what should they do?
Yeah, so recommendations there. So you could either go directly to the company's site and do research on the internships, or there's a lot of great programs. I went through a program called Inroads. It's a national program where they help underrepresented minorities obtain internships with Fortune 500 companies.
Inroads?
Inroads, so just inroads.org. So that's actually the path I went to for my internship with Google. So I'd recommend that being a great resource, no matter whether it's within technology or just any major corporation internship.
So was it a culture shock for you stepping into the Google atmosphere?
I'd say it's as you guys probably discovered today, it's a culture shock for just about anybody stepping in to this type of space. What I would say is that even though it might have been different, it was still very welcoming and open, and I always feel like, and continue to feel like, I can bring my full self to work, and I don't have to have a work Fabian and then another Fabian. I can just be
yourself.
Fabian. Exactly.
Dress how you want to dress.
Exactly. Yeah. Rock boots, the Australian boots. Do what you have to do. So.
Dig it. Well, Fabian, thank you very much, man. Very impressive. Very, very inspiring. blacktechmecca.org. Great. But thank you very much, and we want to thank you for being involved in all of the things that Google are doing. It sounds like you're involved with a lot of the non-for-profits and charitable things that they're doing also.
Yeah.
That's good, man. And then you're also trying to help all these other non-for-profit organizations that's helping with the digital divide.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I think that's great that Google allow you to do that. So you can do that. That can just be, you do that and get paid to do that while you're here at Google.
Right. I'm allotted, a certain percentage of time to pursue my passions, and that's what I'm
So
passionate
other people do the same thing. They have passions, and Google support them on what they want to do.
Yep.
And pay them to do those things that allow them to connect Google with doing things in the community.
Exactly, and it ranges from there's a wide spectrum of people's interests.
So how do you like being here in the West Loop?
I've enjoyed it. At first I live in the South Loop, so I had some concerns on what the commute would be like, but then I discovered I actually live pretty close to the Pink Line, and so the commute's been great. The local restaurants, I've gotten well acquainted with those. We've even done some Black Tech Mecca happy hours at some of the local.
Oh yeah, they got happy hours now. Yeah.
Yep. So I've had a blast.
So what's your favorite restaurant over here?
I'd say Bar Taquito. Their fish tacos are amazing.
Yeah, man, aren't they good? Bar Taquito.
Yeah.
Check it out. You got me hungry now.
Right.
Man.
It's
Yeah.
lunchtime.
All right. Well, fantastic. Well, hey, man, thank you very much for coming on.
Pleasure's all mine.
Appreciate everything that you're doing. Hopefully, we can get more involved with you in the ward.
Absolutely.
And helping some of our West Side young people get more involved in computer science.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I gave thanks with tickets to a concert.
Looking for a unique way to show your gratitude for our nation's veterans and service members? One that will immediately and directly impact their lives? Give your extra tickets to VetTix. How will you give thanks? VetTix. Give something to those who gave. For more information on how you can make a difference, go to vettix.org.
Surprise. Anger. Disgust. Oh, sorry. Da 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 da.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. So now we have John Musnicki.
You got it right.
John Musnicki, okay. So John is responsible for the build out of Google. So John, why don't you tell us, this building used to be a cold storage building.
Sure, this is the old Fulton Market cold storage building, and literally think of it just like your home refrigerator and freezer, but 10 stories high and about 500,000 square feet. So literally when Sterling Bay, the developer, converted the building, they had to let it thaw, and it took a good week to thaw, and stalactites, stalagmites. I mean, it was like freezer burn.
Wow.
In the buildings. One of the great things, though, is the reason you want to renovate a building like this instead of just demolishing and starting fresh is just the character of a building. You see the concrete columns, you see the life of the building, that loft feel that you just can't duplicate in a brand new building.
Fantastic. So how long did the construction take?
So for our interior build out, it took us about a year to do this. Some of the highlights, of course, is this atrium space here. It really is the heart of the building. So we're currently on 5 floors of the building, and it was really important for us that our Googlers felt connected from floor to floor. So people don't use the elevators, they really use the stair in the atrium, and we've built this out that this is really the heart of the building.
Yeah, I noticed you don't have any fat people working at Google.
The stairs do it. We make sure that the food we do provide is healthy choices, and people just love to use this atrium and use the stairs.
And maybe I shouldn't say fat, I should say overweight people, maybe. That's great. And I see on every floor, I see there's a area to come and dine or snack.
Yeah, we call these our micro kitchens, and we really believe for people to be at their best performance, you kind of work for about 90 minutes to 2 hours where you may need a break, whether that's water, cup of coffee, tea, a healthy snack. We want to make sure that this is easily accessible to people.
So when you helped to design the building, what was your frame of mind? What were you trying to get out of it?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you this. So there's always a lot of conversation. Jim talked about the Google culture. We feel the space doesn't create the culture, but it enhances the culture. So Google already has this open culture, this collaborative culture. So my job as a real estate professional, I need to make sure that this space enhances that culture. So with the atrium in the heart of the building, with all of the offices and conference rooms arranged in the center of the building so that the window line is left open for people. When they sit at their desk, they can look out and have these great views of the city. So we really think about that design very carefully to make sure it's allowing people to be at their best.
And so I noticed all around this place you have furniture. You have areas, it's like dining areas everywhere, or conference areas everywhere, or chill chairs everywhere. Tell us about all of that. Now, this is not feng shui, is it?
We really feel it's really more around, again, people being at their best, and we realize one chair, one office setting doesn't fit them for the entire day. So if you come into work and you need to do some heads down work and you're sitting at your desk, that's great. But if you want to meet with a teammate and maybe have a cup of coffee and sit in the atrium, we have a different setting for that. If you need to make a semi-private call, we've got high back chairs that you could go sit in. If you want to kick your feet up and sit in a hanging chair because you're trying to solve a problem that a change of environment may help you solve, that's really why you see these different interior landscape so that people could really spark that creativity during the day.
It sort of reminds me of a college campus, you know what I'm saying, where you can go everywhere, but you can go anywhere and study.
I think that's a real fair comparison because you're in your classroom some part of the day, and that could be our conference rooms. People go to the student union when they want to do a little studying, but they want to see who's up and around as well. And we have spaces that support that as well.
Right. So earlier the guys, they went through and they looked at a couple of things. Tell us some of the things that they filmed here.
Sure. Well, of course, I want to start at the top of the building. So this atrium actually goes through the 10th floor roof, and we call it the Winter Garden up on 11. So during the winter, there's still a spot where people could go. It's all glass looking east, so you've got a tremendous view of the city. And we do have a roof deck on 11. We also have a roof deck. The other side of the building is only 6 stories tall, and there's a roof deck on 7 as well. It's really interesting kind of comparing and contrasting the two. The one on 11, you go up there, you look to the east, beautiful view of the city. When you go on the one on 7, you really sort of feel like you're part of the neighborhood. You're lower down. It's just a different feel. So again, even within our outdoor spaces, we've got that variety.
Great. So something, I think earlier they were saying that they saw a video room.
Sure. So we've got our own dedicated lobby off of Morgan, and we've got a video wall there. And what's really neat about that, it's 41 monitors. It's kind of it's in landscape format, but it's not quite traditional 16:9 format. And the software engineers here actually wrote the programs that run that video wall. And as a side project, they've worked on how to mix in different video elements there, and people just love it. It's a very interesting thing, and the local engineers really feel pride because they wrote the software program that drives that.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the other spaces here in the building.
Sure. I think you got a chance to see our maker room, which is a little model shop. So people could kind of tinker with different things. Some of the robots that they're playing with, some of the X-carved machines that kind of create different shapes and kind of spark, creativity. So the makerspace, we definitely want to encourage that for people to, it's an engineering company at heart, so that they could tinker with different electronics and such.
Fantastic. And what else have we seen here?
So I think you got a chance to see our conference center side. So we've got a 400-person auditorium that supports all sorts of multimedia. And then really that side of the building, we have another suite of conference rooms that surround it. So it supports both internal Google meetings, Google training, but additionally, if we're hosting an outside event, we can do it in that conference center side it's got the large room, but then it's got a mixture of different size rooms, again, to suit the meeting or the training need or the presentation mode the best.
Fantastic. So that's how you keep everybody on the same page besides with technology.
That's right. Communication is key. Of course, we love Google Video Conference to connect us with people who are in other locations, but when it's there's nothing like face-to-face, and we've created those spaces that support that. You could see off of a space like this, off of the atrium, we have phone rooms so that if people need to make a private call or sit on a private video conference, those things are immediately adjacent off of the atrium here.
Fantastic. So tell us some other things that may be going on here in the space.
Sure. I'd like to just kind of talk to you a little bit about how we did our conference room decorations here.
Okay.
So we've got each floor of the building has a different theme to it. So we actually are on the urban fabric theme here. And we had a committee of Googlers involved, and we gave them the theme and then gave them a choice of pictures to choose from. We helped let them drive that part of the design so that they would have ownership with it. So you could see, as we walk around, you could see the graphics on the conference room Michigan Avenue theme here that really, it's a sense of wayfinding. So we're on 6th story, so you know which floor you're on, but then we've got these great graphics that really reinforce that theme.
Fantastic, fantastic. So is there anything else that you have here?
I'd like to just talk a little bit about how we involved Googlers in the design of this. So we had, for instance, like a transportation committee. So a lot of our Googlers come in on the L train. There's an L stop just a block away from here. With the building, we worked with them to maximize the shuttle runs that they make. So the shuttle goes to both Union and Ogilvy Station. And then we've added 2 bike rooms here too, because it's biking is a big part of the Google culture, and people bike year round. So to help support that, we actually have a bike wash station in one of the bike rooms. We have tools available, extra bike helmets if people want to use the great Divvy program that the city has. Absolutely. So even if during the day they want to borrow a bike helmet and maybe ride to the lake or to a park or something, that's available for them as well. Great.
So you also have some parking here, huh?
We do. The building does have some spots underneath the building, and we do have so some of the Googlers use that for parking as well. Mm-hmm. But I would say for a population this size, we really rely heavily on public transportation, and that's a great thing. We encourage that, and we try to make that easy for people to do that as well.
That's great. And a lot of folks ride their bikes. I think everyone's dressed to be able to do that.
That's right.
I see here.
Exactly. Right? And we even have some people who walk, who live in the neighborhood now and are walking, and we expect the great things that are happening in the neighborhood that'll keep growing.
Yeah, and I do know that the folks who built this building, which is Sterling Bay.
Sterling Bay, yes.
They're doing another building down the street on Elizabeth where they have a large parking lot, a 400 car parking lot, I think, and they're rehabbing that, so that's going to bring more parking to the area.
That's great.
Which is good if people drive.
Right.
Yeah, so but I think a lot of folks are taking public transportation around here, but I also think for guests, you have a lot of out-of-town guests. I think one of the deals when Google came here was that they needed to have a hotel nearby.
That's correct.
Right? So the Ace Hotel, is it?
It's going in right across the street. It's kind of fun for us to look out the window and watch that construction as it goes, and that'll be a very nice central amenity to the area once that's complete.
And that helps you all because you have a lot of folks who come to Google to visit.
We do.
From across the world, from
yes.
all over the world. and it's convenient for them to be able to stay close.
Absolutely. So being in the Midwest here, Chicago is such a great destination. Time zone, it works out great between, Mountain View, California, and New York. So with our event space, we do have a lot of internal training that happens. We have a lot of conferences that happen. So having an area like this, our conference room space, works great for that. We're excited about the hotel going up, so this is really a great location for us.
Yeah, so we're talking about 159 rooms, a lot of jobs for people in the community potentially. I think this is great. So that hotel wouldn't be here if Google wasn't here, right?
That's probably the case, yes.
And along with a lot of other things
Yes.
that's happening here in the neighborhood. So this had to be exciting on working on this building. I'm sure it probably was very expensive taking out frozen or formerly frozen concrete out of this place. Had to be a great experience. Did you all document any of those things?
So, we did a lot with kind of internal photographs on our Google Plus page of the construction as it was going, so that our Googlers could kind of watch and see how the construction went. For me personally, it was just a great project to be involved with, where, when we started, the building was just, stripped down to just the structure itself, and then to see it get rebuilt, new mechanical, new infrastructure, of course the atrium, and then, the Google fit out itself was just a great process.
So I see that I noticed that to get in and out, you have to have a card. A stranger can't just wander around and Google.
That's correct. We take our security seriously, of course. We welcome visitors. We print out visitor badges for them. But we just want to make sure that the people who are walking through the space are here for a purpose.
Right, so you got some top secret stuff in here,
Well,
new ideas that you don't want the competition to know about?
That's right. There is an active engineering community here that's working on some great things such as search, and those things, of course, they start them in beta modes first. So, of course, until they're ready to be released to the public, they do remain confidential.
Fantastic. And then you all have like 2 restaurants downstairs, right? Or is it 2, maybe 3?
So Swift and Sons is open now. So we like using that as well for events. That's a great spot. And then the building has a couple additional restaurants that are going in. The Smack Shack, I understand, is going to open in April.
Okay, the Smack Shack.
Yeah, lobster rolls.
Lobster rolls.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
fantastic.
Next time you're over, maybe it'll be open and we could go down there and have a lobster roll.
That's great. That's great. This is your permanent spot for right now, and do you all plan on expanding any?
Well, that's a great question. We actually have expansion going on right now. So the other half of the 6th floor, we're building that out to support additional growth. And then currently we're using the landlord's fitness center, but we're building out a Google Direct Fitness Center on the 5th floor as well. So what's great about this space is that we are able to continue to grow into the space here.
How much other opportunities do you have to grow in this space?
Sure. So the 5th floor, which happens to be a double floor here, the existing 10-story side and the new 6-story side, we've got that entire floor that we could grow into. So that'll certainly, support our growth for kind of years to come. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't locked, that we weren't landlocked. We ran out of space in the other building, but we've set ourselves up so that we clearly have a very nice growth plan here that'll keep us with adequate space.
So most of that is on site here. You're not looking to do any growth out
Correct.
around here?
We've secured enough space in this building that we could grow comfortably.
Yeah, and so do you have an idea of how many more employees you think you can take in if you were to grow?
I think Jim will always talk about that there's jobs posted for growth that could be either sourced in Chicago, Mountain View, California, or New York. So we've set up in a way that whatever comes our way, we should be able to handle that quite comfortably.
So you're not limiting yourself on the number.
That's correct.
I got you.
That's correct.
I got you. Well, fantastic, John. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming.
You've done a great job here, even though this isn't feng shui. We got to call this, what we're going to call this, Muniski?
Well, you could just say this supports the Google culture.
Okay.
It supports Googliness.
I was trying to give you a name, man.
That's all right. That's all right. It's really more about supporting the employees that are here.
Fantastic. Well, I will tell you, all of your employees look very comfortable, and it's like they just at home. It's a great thing. So thank you very much.
That's an excellent compliment. Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing us to come in.
Great.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.